The courtroom was cold, not from air conditioning, but from tension so thick it clung to the skin. It was the kind of chill that made people whisper without realizing. Christine sat in the front row, lips pressed tight. The letter clutched like both a relic and a weapon. Janelle was beside her, expression unreadable, eyes fixed on the door. Behind them, Meri sat rigid, sunglasses hiding the storms in her eyes. The portrait of a woman who had already lived through 1,000 regrets. Then came Robyn, late. Hair disheveled, eyes swollen, perfume heavy as though it could disguise unraveling nerves. She collapsed into her chair, heels clicking like punctuation marks to her panic. The bailiff's voice cut through. All rise. And in walked Kody Brown. His suit was sharp, his smile strained, but his eyes betrayed him. Not guilt. Not shame. Fear. Fear of being seen for what he really was. The judge announced the case, Lee Brown versus Brown Estate and Affiliates. A ripple of murmurs spread through the gallery. Christine's breath stopped. The doors opened again. Silence fell. She entered, tall, composed, dressed in plain black, elegant but unadorned. Her gaze swept the room until it landed on Kody. He did not flinch, but his jaw locked like stone. State your name, the judge instructed. She stepped forward, voice steady as steel wrapped in velvet. My name is Amara Lee Brown. I am here to reclaim the life that was stolen from me. The gallery gasped as though the air had been yanked from the room. Robyn whispered, trembling, "No." Christine leaned forward. Janelle remained still. Meri bowed her head. Amara laid a folder on the judge's bench. Letters, photos, videos, documents, each piece of evidence preserved like weapons polished for this single moment. Kody Rhodes' voice clipped. Your Honor, this woman is from another era. Irrelevant. But Amara's eyes did not waver. You told me I would always be your first, she said, not caring that this wasn't cross-examination. Robyn shot to her feet. She's lying. The gavel slammed. Order. Then Meri's voice broke through the silence. Quiet, firm, unshakable. She's telling the truth. The room jolted. Robyn spun toward her, stunned. You too. Meri nodded once. I remember her. We all do. It was then the doors opened again. A young man entered, tall and reserved, with Kody's nose and Amara's eyes. My son, Amara said. Elijah. The room fractured into chaos. Gasps, whispers, disbelief. Christine's hand covered her mouth. Janelle whispered, Oh my God. Robyn clutched her pearls as if the ground had given way beneath her. The bailiff handed the judge an envelope. A birth certificate. Father, Kody Brown. The judge looked up sharply. Mr. Brown, were you aware of this child? Kody's face drained of its last refuge of arrogance. No. Amara's laugh was not triumphant. It was quiet, broken, like air escaping after decades of suffocation. You used to sing to him, she whispered. You called him your little sunbeam. The judge ordered a paternity test. Robyn broke. Not polite tears, but raw sobs, ragged and ugly. You're destroying this family. Amara's eyes turned cold. You can't destroy what's already rotten. The gavel struck again. Court adjourned. Next hearing, DNA results. Christine stayed seated as Elijah passed by. Their eyes met. He gave a subtle nod, not recognition, but gratitude. Then he was gone. Janelle whispered, Do you believe it? Christine didn't answer. She didn't need to. The truth was already in motion. And once the truth enters, it doesn't walk alone. As Kody exited in silence, Robyn lingered, her glare sharp enough to cut. You did this. Christine raised one brow. No, Robyn, he did. And behind them, Amara stood still, alone but unbroken. The kind of strength that carries a price. And the price was only beginning because next week, the DNA results would arrive. The DNA results would arrive. The judge cleared her throat, papers trembling faintly in her hands. We have received the results of the paternity test for Elijah Lee Brown. The air itself seemed to hold its breath. The shuffle of pens, the coughs, even the creak of the wooden benches all silenced. 20 years of denial, of secrets buried under dust and contracts. Hung in that moment, Christine felt her pulse hammering through her palms, her nails digging crescents into her skin. Beside her, Janelle pretended to study her folder, but her lips pressed so tight they had lost their color. Behind them, Meri sat folded into herself, sunglasses hiding eyes that no longer looked fierce, only hollow. And then chaos. The doors banged open. Robyn stumbled inside like a storm that had missed its warning. Mascara streaked, chest heaving, hair half fallen from its pins. "What did I miss?" she demanded, voice shrill, eyes wild. The room did not answer, because all eyes were fixed on the judge, who raised her chin and read the single sentence that would split the Brown family tree in half. "Kody Brown, you are the biological father of Elijah Lee Brown." The word struck like a gavel before the gavel. Gasps cracked the silence. Robyn let out a strangled cry and nearly collapsed against the bench, clawing at Kody's arm. He didn't move, didn't even blink. His face remained stone, but the stone was crumbling from within. Elijah didn't gloat. He didn't smile. He only straightened his shoulders. As if the verdict hadn't given him power, but given him back his name. Christine felt tears she hadn't expected sting her eyes. Not because she pitied Kody, not even because she mourned what was lost, but because the truth had finally arrived, and once it walks through the door, never leaves. The judge's voice cut through the storm one final time. This court will reconvene to determine inheritance and estate division. Until then, all Brown assets are frozen under injunction. Gavel's crack sealed it. And just like that, the courtroom erupted, not with noise, but with history breaking wide open. The judge slit the envelope open with the care of someone dismantling a bomb. The paper inside was aged, its corners yellowed, the fold crease nearly worn through from years of being kept closed. For a moment, she didn't read aloud. She scanned it privately, eyes narrowing slightly, as if weighing whether the words belonged in this room at all. Then, at Amara's quiet nod, she lifted her gaze and began. Her voice carried the stillness of a tolling bell. "Amara, I hate that this has to come in writing. You were the only one who ever made me believe this life could work. You were first. You were there before the cameras, before the contracts, before the edits. You were the one who stood beside me when this family was nothing but an idea. But things have shifted. TLC wants something cleaner, a neater story. They want wives who fit the image, who look and behave the way their audience can digest. And God help me, they don't want you. I told them no, but it isn't just my call anymore. It's bigger than me now. And you're not the TV wife they want." The words hit like a hammer against bone. Christine's stomach twisted, bile rising to her throat. Janelle clutched the edge of the bench, her knuckles bleaching white. Meri's eyes watered behind her dark glasses, though she tried to mask it with stillness. And Robyn's mouth fell open in horror, as if the letter itself had reached across time and torn away her crown. The silence that followed was volcanic. No sound, but crushing. It pressed on every chest in the room. Christine couldn't look away from Kody. His jaw remained locked, but his hands betrayed him, trembling faintly under the table. The slightest shiver of a man realizing the empire he built on faith. Contracts and cameras was collapsing in real time. Robyn finally broke, whispering hoarsely, "This is forged. This is a lie." But her words carried no weight anymore. Not even Kody turned to defend her. Because the ugliest part of truth is not its reveal. It's the moment you realize no one is standing beside you when the light hits. And as the letter drifted to its final line, the room felt smaller, suffocating. Like the walls themselves were recording witnesses to the collapse of the myth they had all lived inside. The words hit the room like a match to gasoline. Christine gripped the bench, her nails biting into the wood as the judge lowered the letter. Kody's voice, frozen in faded ink, hung in the silence. "You're too real, too strong. They want 4. Meri, Janelle, Christine, and Robyn? You must vanish for now." The air shifted. Christine remembered that year Robyn's arrival. The smiles that looked more like politics than love. the way their family bent under an invisible weight. Now the truth was here, on paper, undeniable. Robyn staggered back, whispering through tears, he didn't write that. But no one believed her. Not even Kody, who stared at Amara like a man watching his own house burn. The judge's voice sliced through. Mr. Brown, do you accept the validity of this letter? Kody swallowed hard, nodded once. The ripple it caused was instant, like a stone breaking a still lake. For Amara, it wasn't triumph. It was release. She had hidden that letter for 19 years, locked in a drawer. Now it belonged not to her, but to the story everyone had been too afraid to tell. Christine's face flushed, not at Amara, at herself, at all of them. For letting Robyn take the house Amara was meant to have. For letting the cameras frame lies they smiled through. Janelle rose, placed her hand on the letter. I remember, he came back from that trip, restless, evasive. He said something big had happened, but never explained. Meri followed, her voice quiet but cutting, and then he quit saying her name, as if she were dead. Robyn's body shook, her lips trembling. You all act like I wanted this, like I asked to take her place. I didn't. I just said yes. That's Allie said yes. Christine stepped forward at last, her voice breaking through the silence. You said yes to a lie. That's what you married. Silence isn't neutrality, Robyn. It's consent. The judge called a recess. In the hallway, Christine leaned against the wall, eyes closed, memories rushing back. The early years, poverty, exhaustion, Meri crying into her pillow, Janelle hiding in books, Christine cooking for children who weren't hers while convincing herself she was chosen too. And now she wondered, where had Amara been all that time? Watching, hurting, surviving. Her thoughts flickered to Elijah, the boy who could have grown up with them. The boy Kody had promised, then abandoned. By the afternoon, the fight was no longer about paper trails. It was about bloodlines, inheritance, legacy. Elijah wasn't just a name on a page anymore. He was family, and the court recognized it. But when the judge prepared to close the session, Robyn snapped. Wait, I have something to say. The courtroom froze. Her voice wasn't polished or performative, was raw, fractured, terrified. The scaffolding that had propped her up for years was collapsing. She stood, trembling, mascara streaked, blouse wrinkled, her heels clattering like chains as she faced the room. I knew about Amara before I met Kody. Gasps rippled through the chamber. Robyn's confession spilled forward, unstoppable now. How she had stalked the Browns. How she'd played naive, made herself small, let Kody feel like the teacher. How she discovered tapes home videos of Elijah, of Kody kissing his son's forehead and promising forever. And how she had hated Amara for it. I wanted to be his star, not his continuation. I smiled, I nodded, I performed for the producers. I let Amara stay in the grave, but I never threw the tapes away. From her bag, she pulled a tiny box. Inside, a baby's bracelet engraved Elijah Du Brown and a USB drive. The room exhaled all at once. The judge ordered it cataloged, evidence of what had been buried too long. Robyn collapsed into her seat, empty, stripped of the lies she had lived inside. Some confessions don't heal. They only stop the bleeding. They only stop the bleeding.